everybody. So this is going to be my short video of a sample of how to do the question formulation technique. So you have a guide and specific instructions on how to do the question formulation technique in your evidence binders. However, this is a specific exercise for the short story 7th grade. Although you'll find that my questions have nothing to do with that story. They're just totally made up and sort of whimsical. So for this activity, because it's the first time you're doing it, I'm only requiring that you write at least 3 questions down. I did 5, and on a normal, whenever we practice and do this more times, you'll want to write as many as you can. You don't worry about spelling, you don't worry about grammar, but for today's activity, you need to do at least 3. Okay, so here are my questions, and I'm just going to unhighlight them. My first question is, who is Luke's father? Okay. My second question is, why was the queen mad at Sleeping Beauty? Okay. My third question is, was Maui mean? My fourth question is, does Elsa have powers? And my fifth question is, where do the lonely hearts go? You may not get that reference. Your parents probably do. Okay. Now, the next step is to identify if the questions are closed or open. You're going to do that in this column, and you can just write C for closed and O for open. So remember that a closed question is one that has like a yes or no answer, or only a few things could ever be the answer. So very finite answers. So for example, who's Luke's father? There's only a couple things you could say, right? So it's closed. But why was the queen mad at Sleeping Beauty? Well, that's open because it's a long description of all of her issues that make her mad at Sleeping Beauty. Was Maui mean? That's a yes or no, so it's closed. Does Elsa have powers? The answer is yes or no, so it's closed. And where do the lonely hearts go? Well, that is definitely an open-ended question because you could say lots and lots of things to describe that. So the next step is to change the questions. If they're closed, you rewrite them as open, and if they're open, you write them as closed. So here you'll see all my questions again. So instead of who is Luke's father, I'm going to say, why doesn't Luke know who his father is? That's very open-ended, and I label it as such. No longer closed. Then instead of why was the queen Sleeping Beauty, it's queen mad at Beauty. Okay, and that is closed because it's yes or no. Instead of was Maui mean, which was a closed question, now we're going to say, what was Maui like? Very open-ended question. Well, he was a little bit of this and a little bit of that, and yeah. Okay. Then instead of does Elsa have powers, it's what are Elsa's powers? Again, that's open-ended because it's more than one thing you need to say to answer that question. And finally, where do the lonely hearts go? Goes from open to closed when I change it to, do the lonely hearts go anywhere? Maybe they don't go anywhere. Okay. So the next step is to look, now I have 10 questions, and of course you will have at least 6 because I said you had to write at least 3, and then you have to rewrite those 3. So you will have at least 6. I happen to have 10. And now I'm going to put a check mark by the 2 questions that I think are the most important, okay? So for me, I thought one of them was, where do the lonely hearts go? I thought that was super important. And I also thought, why doesn't Luke know who his father is, was super important, okay? And now I'm going to answer those questions, okay? So first one, where do the lonely hearts go? Well, the lonely hearts go to a place in the waiting room of love to await their next romance. That's sort of silly, but that's my answer, okay? Now, the next one, why doesn't Luke know who his father is? Luke doesn't know who his father is because, well, I don't really know because I haven't seen all the Star Wars. Please don't judge me. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this short practice video on how to do the QFT or question formulation technique, and Have a great afternoon. Bye.